fourth quarter. But what did you think the difference was down the stretch when you pulled away?
Yeah, I mean, well, you said those two things. I don't think we did a good enough job on the glass all night, but we're able to, do well enough to get the W. And I think from a turnover standpoint, we just slowed down a little bit. I think sometimes we get sped up, and we didn't move it side to side enough in the second and third quarter. I thought we did a better job of that late.
Frank, Naz Reid had such a good first half against you guys, and it seemed like your smaller lineups were struggling defensively against him. Did you need to resist the urge to counter and try to go big there? And what does that say about kind of where you guys are in this evolution toward this lineup?
Yes, I did have to resist the urge. The glass, was that was a concern. If he's scoring in the low post against Stanley's toughness, we can live with that. We felt like those were good situations for us defensively. The ball is not in Anthony Edwards' hands. But the glass was not just Reed. It was and they've hurt us when we played the first two games big. They killed us on the glass. They just fly in from their perimeter. They're a great perimeter crashing team. And, that was going to be an issue whether we were big or small.
Frank, you talked about getting sped up. Obviously with Russ, that's such a fine line. How do you think he's handled that big picture? And then smaller picture tonight, is there really anything you can do when he's just having a night like tonight where he's just a little sloppy?
Yeah, I think he's gotten better. I think we've seen that, over the course of the last, 3, 4, 5 weeks. Had a tough night tonight. But he's improving and we're evolving offensively. So the guys are in different spots, and some of that is the pieces moving around him, not just him.
I think Miller had a really good fourth quarter. Carmelo Anthony, how have you seen him evolve as a six-man guy off the bench since you guys have had him?
Yeah, I mean, he's done a great job for us all year. And, he's brought a great deal of, basketball integrity to our team. There's a care factor with everything he's trying to do. He's really intentional about knowing what his defensive coverages are, making sure guys are playing the right way offensively. And, it's like that's what some of the assistant coaches were just talking about. His basketball integrity, has been a real positive for us this year.
Frank, you guys played 9 players tonight. 3 of them didn't begin the year with you. I know Trevor was on the roster, but wasn't playing games. You had Stanley and you had Avery. What does that say about the turnover that this team has experienced? And considering all 3 of those guys in particular can bring two-way support, is that the direction you have to go in? Just find guys who can bring it on both ends?
Well, obviously that's the type of players we want to put around LeBron and AD. Guys that can do it on both sides of the ball. And, the guys you just mentioned are doing that. And, when you evolve throughout the course of a season, a lot of it isn't just, your style of play, how you're playing. It's which guys can do what, and when you put together a team with so many new faces like we had this year, a lot of the early part of the season is figuring out what guys can and can't do and whether we need changes to personnel in those roles. And, I think we've seen that some of late.
Frank, 2 questions, if you'll permit me. First, Naz had 23 points the first 3 quarters and then 0 points in the last. What difference did LeBron make guarding Naz on a lot of those possessions?
Oh, he's a difference maker. He can do it all. Like LeBron James can do it all. So that guy's going, and you decide to put him defensively on their center, to slow him down, and he's still executing the pick and roll coverage as well when Edwards is coming off and whatnot. He had a terrific defensive fourth and really, a defensive game. But that's LeBron James. You're able to do that with him.
And then to follow up a little bit on Dave's question, Avery Bradley doesn't have a guaranteed contract. You guys have a decision to make. Well, the front office, I guess, does. What do you think he's shown you guys thus far? Obviously, been a starter when he's been healthy.
He's done a great job for us all year. A difficult circumstance for him, bouncing around early in the season. And, obviously he's a part of, what our culture has been the last couple of years. Started with us 2 years ago. And, really, we just talked about a minute ago, having two-way players. He sets a great tone for us on the defensive side of the ball. And, he's really brought a lot on the offensive side as well.
Hey, Frank. Just wondering, can you, on the Carmelo thing, can you just kind of define or elaborate what you mean by basketball integrity?
Just the care factor of making sure that we're doing things the right way. You know, everything, you know, how we're playing, you know, defensively, you know, everybody being locked in, everybody understanding what, you know, guys are doing, that guys are doing what they're supposed to do and leading us, you know, when we're not. And, you know, and leading by example with asking the right questions and, you know, trying to play the right way and recognizing when our group isn't playing the right way. You know, he's shown great leadership in that regard.
Last two on Zoom, George Richard, and then we'll go with Mr. Kennedy.
Hey, Coach, want to ask you about Malik Monk. You know, you just see his growth and how much freedom he's allowed to have now with you guys. And, you know, you guys look for him to get, you know, buckets, of course. And just want to ask you your thoughts on his growth and, you know, what you look for him, you know, offensively.
Yeah, well, he can do it all offensively. You know, that's what we love about Malik. We can put the ball in his hands and he can make plays. He's great at reading defense. You know, understanding that if they're going to stay with Bron, he can turn the corner if they're going to show. You know, he knows how to deliver the ball. He's great putting the ball on the floor. And, you know, when these other guys have it, he's great as a backside three-point shooter as well. So really giving us a huge lift offensively. And, you know, and he's competing and doing everything he can on the defensive side as well.
Hey, Frank, you talked earlier about the rebounding issues and not putting in either Dwight or DJ, just in terms of that size. Is part of the thought process just the idea of if we're going to commit to going small, we have to learn how to do this as a small team. We have to learn how to adapt to it, as opposed to looking for, say, somebody like Dwight or DJ to bail you out, but then you don't develop the identity?
That's a huge part of it. And honestly, we talked about that going in. You know we had been hurt on the glass by this team. You know, we knew it was going to be a challenge. I think we showed 25 box out clips from the Portland game and the last Minnesota game before the game to demonstrate, you know, that if we're going to play this style, that this is an area we have to be better. We weren't much better, but it is about, you know, if we're gonna explore this style of play, we have to learn how to deal with this.